is approval of the agenda. May I have a motion? And a second? Discussion? Seeing none, all in favour of the agenda as presented and as opposed?
Oh, yeah, sorry, there's some on table.
Oh, okay, never mind.
My apologies.
So do we have to rescind that?
Well, you've only seconded so far.
No, we took it all in favour.
Okay, so...
It was too fast, maybe you didn't speak?
Yeah, maybe, pretend I didn't say it.
So we have on table minutes from the Infrastructure Committee meeting of December 14th.
Okay, so that is 8D.
8D.
DI, yeah, there's 3 minutes in there, 3 sets of minutes.
8DI and they all say 8DI though.
Sorry?
They all say 8DI.
Yeah, no, it's all included in one package. So there's 3 separate minutes.
Okay.
Minutes set, okay.
Yeah, there's 3 different.
All right.
Okay, everybody get that? 8D IC minutes.
We got December, February, and March.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's all I'm just.
Can I also, I'd like to report out on the meeting event what we had on Thursday, the JI
Okay, council or committee?
council.
It's a council thing, right?
It's more IC committee too.
Okay, fine. Okay, so under D we'll have 2 IC chair report. You with me, Shauna?
8D.
8D2 IC chair report.
And municipal grants from the CSC.
Oh, great. Okay. Where that's unfinished business.
Yeah, we could put it there.
Under where, sorry?
Under 7 unfinished business. Where that would be good. 7A community grants. Anything else, Helen?
No.
Okay.
Oh,
So-
sorry, one other thing is I'll have a brief verbal report to add to the reports I'm presenting.
Okay, so that would be staff A2. A4. CAO report. Verbal report. Ron, you didn't want to do... Never mind, scratch that.
I think I can, no, I think we're good. Is there something I told you I forgot?
No, I saw it. It's in there. Okay, good. Okay, this is your final chance. Okay, now all in favour. Thanks. And opposed? That carries. The next order on the agenda is public participation. That's not you. Did you get the list, Fred? Cheers. We have 2 speakers, 2 minutes on topics on the agenda. Lisa Turpin.
I just wanted to reiterate that I was at the meeting earlier today, and I concur with Councillor Bain's comments regarding the play school, and I don't think it's this council's, I don't think taxpayers should be footing the bill for play school's reserve budget. I think you should be asking for an ongoing operational budget, because I know they did not make $500. I think when you ask for the grants, it should be a grant that's a budget that's actually consistent with what's the flow through the bank account. Reading those financial statements, they didn't have that within their budget submission for their application. Also, under the stuff for the fire department for the $20,000 audit, I know our council did an audit 10 years ago, and I'm quite certain it's not that stale dated. It is in the office here, and I think that's another expense of $20,000 that you could do away with spending. Not too excited about additional staff either. And also, I was trying to find in the correspondence or somewhere reference to the delegation today so I could become informed, and it's not in the package. So I don't know what constitutes needing to come to the package or not come to the package, but when it's referenced that it's in an email, that the survey, the data review is in the form of an email, I would have expected to have seen the summary attachment within the package so that I might actually be able to speak to it now rather than at 10 o'clock this evening. And also, when you guys are having those 3 o'clock meetings, you are advancing the work of council, because a lot of that discussion you had about the grants and things should have been, in my opinion, should have been here. It really should have. Because that's what makes council tick, and that's what helps residents understand what you guys are up to. So, thanks.
Thank you, Lisa. You raised some very good points, which I think I speak for all of us. We take very much to heart, and we will certainly take action on, I would say, just about everything that you raised. Thank you. Scott Ando.
Mayor and Council, I have reviewed the report from Public Works Manager titled Information Report Update the Infrastructure Master Plan. I have the following questions of staff. Why was the concern of AECOM senior management oversight not identified by staff and rectified earlier? Does the village have any documentation of this concern prior to revision D? The senior management oversight was not provided throughout the process. How will adding it at the end of the process help? When AECOM nominated project manager left immediately after AECOM was awarded the RFP, did this not raise a red flag for staff? Does the village have any documentation of this concern? Why have staff been focused on the technical errors, infrastructure assessment, and monetary implications instead of the background information, engineering principles, and best practices and/or perspective behind the project chosen? Is it reasonable that one of the largest engineering firms in the world did not include in the initial report and/or any revisions? Should a small municipality with limited resources need to ask background info, etc. to be provided? Why has AECOM spent little, if any, time to provide investigative and provide recommendations for innovative approaches to the village's infrastructure challenges? I would go a step further that the report does not provide creative and sustainable strategic options as required in the RFP. The INP was overdue. Why were safeguards and/or penalties not built into the RFP and the contract? What happens if the INP does not satisfy the deliverables in the RFP and contract? What are the village's options now? One last point. I don't think that staff should be guiding or providing AECOM with suggestions on what should be investigated or included in the report. If we are providing this information now, why did we not include it in the beginning? So this is a copy of what everything. I'd like it included in the
On-table items.
on-table items. I'd like to know how I will get a response to those from staff.
Okay, we're obviously not able to respond to that many technical in-depth issues right now. Peter, would you care to address how we will respond, our staff will respond to that, and when?
I guess we'll review the questions and provide a written response to Mr. Ando.
Okay, thanks. That's it for public participation, so we'll move on to the next item on the agenda, which is delegations. Ray Kisser.
Okay, so is that the?
That's your 10-minute warning.
Don't burn the eggs.
Well, I'm not going to talk for 10 minutes. Okay, so under the heading of trying to provide information at a critical time, so it's budget time, and you know, like most of us in the village, you know, we get together and we talk and stuff, and one of the things that I do is I read the Friday updates. I really like them. They're quite well laid out, and I started noticing points in those Friday updates talking about having to raise taxes, and you know, there were some questions about priorities of, you know, if we don't get more money, you know, will you do without services? And I started to get a little kind of nervous and angst with, you know, some of those things. So I thought, well, do you have information? Do you have the right kind of information that you can use to help you with these decisions right now. So, but I mean, when you do this kind of thing and you're just when you're running your life and you're not part of mayor and council, you mostly let this go and you just let other people do it. But there's always a trigger, and the trigger for me was that on my block in Upper Kelvin Grove for months and months and months, right around the time as I was reading these updates, the lights on my street are on every day, all day, on upper half of Kelvin Grove. And I'm looking at them in the bright sunshine, wondering, well, if we have so much or so little money, why can't we turn the lights off in Kelvin Grove? So I started pushing for having that done, and I phoned and I left messages for Nikki, and finally a crew showed up of 3 a few months ago. The lights are still on for most of the day. I was told that they thought it was because there was branches that were blocking the sensors. That was months ago. And then I read a few more of these messages and I went, okay, that's enough, right? So guys, I thought one of the things I was going to do is come here and just start ranting and raving, complaining and all that kind of stuff, but that doesn't help anybody. So I thought one of the things that maybe we could do was get some more information for you, right? Let's run a survey. Let's get what everybody else is thinking in the village. Let's ask a bunch of questions. One of the key things that was brought up was prioritization of money. Where are we going to spend money? And one of the things that somebody like me thinks about is we are directly linked to everything that happens in this village, because this isn't the city of Vancouver. This is Lions Bay, a village where all of us know each other. Council members are my personal friends that are sitting here at this table. People here are my personal friends, right? So money going to taxes, it starts at court, it's closer. There's a closer association. So we need to help with the decision for you guys. That was the motivation of this. So I got together, put some questions together, we ran this through a bunch of people, and there's some pretty smart people in Lions Bay. I'm not the kind of person that would normally do this, so I asked for help. And I just put some questions together, and that formed the basis of me forwarding the survey into my Facebook account, getting it forwarded around to other people in Lions Bay to see if anybody would be interested enough to survey and to take it. But 112 people took it. So what I did was then look at the information, summarize it a bit, and then fire it off into you with the hopes that you can then use it. There's some things that are noticeable. There's some good and there's some not so good. There's grades and ratings of staff, front office, from the villagers that responded. There's ratings of the village, the works yard, the councillors, the information that's going out. So it's good, but there's areas for improvement. And so if you're thinking about adding more staff or spending more money on things, and we generally are not thinking that we're getting value for money, then I think we should really take a look at some of this information and try to see what you get from it, and hopefully it helps you with some of your priorities that you're going to put in front of us here. It's very loud and clear that infrastructure is still very important. People want to see money going to infrastructure. We all see the broken roads and everything, right? Personally, when I start hearing that we're going to spend money on, things like Lisa just brought up, and for 5 or 6 or 7 years, every single year we've been waiting for that toilet down at the beach to be fixed, where everybody all summer goes, and it still is a third world toilet that nobody wants to go into. That's like, so that's why I'm here. If you have any questions on this, feel free. I have nothing more to add to it. Just want you to try to take it and use it, and hopefully it helps you make some decisions here.
Okay, thank you, Ray. I don't believe that we have any questions at this stage, although I'm sure we have all seen the survey, and we thank you for taking the effort. And
Nobody, sorry, I'm sorry.
everybody on council has seen it. You're obviously free to send it around.
Will it be published Normally, it's part of the package that gets sent out, so I don't know. That's the only reason why I did a delegation. I didn't really was gonna.
Yeah, I don't know how it will get published. If it will get published, I believe it has to be sent in as correspondence. So if you wish it to be included in the council package, send it in as correspondence, and it will be in the next package for people to review.
Questions, comments?
Helen?
No, I don't.
At this stage, no, thanks. Okay, thank you, Ray. That's great. Thanks for taking the trouble and for taking the trouble to come and proselytize.
Okay, good. You're welcome. My pleasure.
Okay, we'll move on. Approval of the minutes of previous meeting, page 5. Comments?
Pardon me, I just have one on page 7 of 138.
Yep.
Under 8E, emergency services, the ESS meeting was not the 3rd but the 23rd, just a typo there. Just in case anyone wants to follow that up.
23rd, not the 3rd.
February 23rd?
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
Beyond that, nothing from me.
Good. Okay, I had only one question. Page 10, what is that?
Well, that's the addendum A, which we referenced to Lisa.
It's in
Friedman's
red on
comments.
the top of mine.
Yeah, it's an addendum to the minutes? Is it correspondence?
Item 3A.
3C.
Sorry, yeah.
Fine, okay, good, got it, thank you. Okay, anything else? No? Okay, motion to adopt the minutes as we see them with that small amendment from Fred. And a second? All in favour? Opposed? Carried? Okay, the minutes are good. And straight on to business arising. That starts on page 11. Number 1, no change, correct? Peter?
I don't think so.
Okay. This is with staff, so you would know.
Other than, sorry, trees, views and landscapes will be coming forward at this meeting.
No, item number 1 only.
Oh, sorry. No.
No, okay. Number 2, emergency planning committee.
We just push that over.
You want to push it over? Fine. No particular
Okay,
hurry.
no fixed deadline on this?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's your call really. It's you know the timing on these things, so there's plenty to do. So I'm not looking for anything extra to do. So
Yeah, that's the issue. With,
you make the call.
With budget and and all that, we'll need a public works manager in place, and so we could be months away before we get going on this.
Fine. Okay. Item number 3 is coming before us today. Item number 4.
That's still a work in progress.
Okay. So Shauna, just back to think. You can take number 3 out, and everything comes up 1. Number 4 stays where it is. Current number 4. Number 5. Staff.
Yeah, that'll have to, that'll take a bit. That'll be in progress, if you still want it. I don't remember there being a resolution to this effect, but we'll, was being looked at in the context of business licenses, so it's part of the bylaw review.
Okay. The first time we get an application for a marijuana dispensary, it will be too late to put regulations in place because they will have done it under the existing code. So we'll keep that one open. Councillor Waterson to respond to Ms. Schneider regarding the Village Hawk fees. Helen?
Actually, I forgot what was my responsibility. I don't remember.
Yeah, it is in the February 16th meeting minutes. We'll leave that one for you to take care of. Lots happened on the 16th of February, it looks like. CAO de Jong to look into the new website construction.
Still looking.
Councillor McLaughlin.
Happy Canada Day. I thank you very much, Shauna, for giving me the information on historical stuff. I'll do a one-page report for the next council meeting with my recommendations on that. But in terms of the council members, would be to who they want to invite, such as the MP, the MLAs, the constables, and just it's a matter of making sure we've got who we want on the list first. Unless there's a show of hands, this is the events committee's show. So they arrange the balance of the event. So Shauna would be in contact with Kate Pratt, the current chairperson. And Carl, I think that you want to speak. They usually ask you to, but I think you would prefer others do not. The MP, or do you care?
The MPs usually, the MP and the MLA usually like to say a word.
A couple of words, okay. So
especially if it's to do with grant funding.
Good, and then I think, yeah, I'm sure they both have something to say. I'm sure, Di, do you hear Mr. Sturdy on the LNG?
Yeah, we worry about the agenda items. Okay,
Yeah,
so you've
that's
begun the
small point.
process.
So that's it, and then there'll be something about the awards later.
Good, so I would say that one's done. You have begun the process, and it's now in process. Good, so current number 8 is off, and staff to report on infrastructure planning grant opportunities. That was done last meeting.
Yeah, I'm still trying to get some clarification though from the ministry. Having spoken to them, it's still unclear as to whether or not each of the individual projects that we're looking at are eligible or not.
Count separately.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's keep that one there as a reminder. You good with that?
Yep.
Okay, good, that's it. Moving on to unfinished business, there's one item, community grants, and there's an on-table report, I believe, Peter?
Yep.
This was discussed, bearing in mind Lisa Turpin's point about the spectrum of business. This was discussed, for the gallery's information, at the Council Strategy Committee meeting today. So what are we looking at here? Because this doesn't look any different.
I don't think it's any different. It's the same thing, but
It's not different. I happen to have the numbers in front of me.
Okay, so go, Ron.
The material piece that was missing before was the play school in kind of 2940.
2940 for play school in kind, yes.
So that would reduce the 6538.
Mm-hmm.
940 to that, so that's 2598. Is that right? So that would reduce the 33028 to 30.
Okay, well, let's worry about the totals later.
088 just as a sub. And then I think, Carl, however we want to have short discussion on this, I think from the events committee on down, from our collection, everybody was in agreement with those. I think the seniors social circle had a point of discussion, play school had a point of discussion, and the arts council did.
Okay, let's start at the top. Arts Council is asking for 7,800 in cash, 800 in kind. In kind, of course, not a cash item. It's usually a rent waiver. So I'll start because I propose that we ask the Arts Council, which is a society and eligible for gaming grants, to reduce their cash ask by 2,000 and fund it themselves through a gaming grant application. Everybody good with this?
I would prefer to give them the whole amount and ask that they do that for next year.
Okay, Fred?
I'm the same with Ron on that one.
Helen?
I'm with Ron as well.
Fine, okay, so the 78, we'll take a resolution once we've nailed down all the numbers.
Yeah.
Okay, so no change on the Arts Council. although I will ask that when the time comes that I ask for a $2,000 reduction in the cash number. Play School Association. The cash number is now, Ron, after removing the in-kind portion.
I do my math here, so just to be careful, it's 6538 minus
2940.
29404. 4598.
No, it should be 3598.
I didn't like that. I must have touched the wrong number.
3598.
3598. Thank you.
The Play School Association already does take gaming grants, so there's no wiggle room in the gaming grant. Everybody happy with the resulting cash number, given commentary that we've seen?
No, I
Fred?
still prefer to bring the cash to zero and the in-kind to the 2940.
Ron?
The in-kind at 2940. I'm in favor of the cash amount for 3598. My caveat on this would be that they also apply for either another grant from somewhere else, another sponsor, or enhance their fundraising. But for this year, I'm fine.
Okay, Helen?
I'm in agreement with Ron, so I'm going to say yes to their ask with the in-kind.
Okay, I would like to meet in the middle, in that given the fact that we're waiving $29.40 in cash expenditure that would otherwise have been paid straight back to us for rent, as Fred has made the point, what money gets earmarked for what, I don't know, but this total number does in fact include a $6,500 reserve, which I would prefer not to be participating in funding. I fully understand why their budget needs one. On the other hand, it needs one. So I wouldn't say that simply because they find it prudent to put a budget in, a reserve in place that we don't want to fund their budget. So the number that we're looking at in terms of cash is $35.98. I'd like to see a number more like, in round numbers, 2,000 there. Could you live with that, Fred?
I could live with that as a concession for this year, with the instruction that next year we would follow what Ron's suggesting and encourage them to get outside grants and sponsors so that we don't give them cash in hand.
I would agree with that. I would think that's right. I think they have somewhat predicated, maybe now having learned that they can get money from the community, their budget on that. So I don't want to put too big a hole in it. Ron?
I'm fine with the two.
Helen?
Well, I would like to stick with my original and support the original ask.
Okay. Well, it's just as well we have three. Otherwise, we'd have a split vote with no deciding vote. So, in fact, I will take resolutions on the individual asks and then a resolution on the final number. So we'll do this one first. So the proposition is, the motion I will make is $2,000 cash grant and a $29.40 in-kind grant. Can I have a second? And any further discussion? All in favor? That's 3 against 1. Helen, I presume you're opposed?
Opposed?
Would you like your opposition minuted?
Will be.
It will be.
Please.
Okay. No, we don't. We don't.
Just repeat the motion.
The motion is $29.40 in-kind grant and a, what did I say? $2,000 cash grant
And this is
for the Play School Association. And then we'll go back and take a resolution on the Arts Council, an $800 in-kind grant and a $7,800 cash grant. Can I have a motion?
Mine.
Thanks. And a second? Seconded. All in favor? Helen?
In favor?
I'm opposed. I'd like my opposition minuted, please.
Can I get the announcement?
Yes, 800 in kind and 7,800 cash. And the last one is the Senior Social Circle. The ask is 1,850 in kind, which again is purely a waiver of rental on It's here, 1850. And a cash grant of 6580. I'll take a motion in second and we'll discuss. Motion, please. Thanks, and a second. Discussion.
I would want to have the same suggestion to them about searching out grant sponsors and the like. With the end goal is, with the financial position that the village is in, I would like to see us whittle down grants to all events as much as we can, as they're able to get outside sources.
Yep.
So if each one could be encouraged to get their grants and sponsors, that would be much preferable, but you know, we can do this way for this year, but I would not want to keep coming back with these numbers for next year.
Helen, just a technical question. Is the Senior Social Circle a society?
No,
Okay. So they would not be eligible until they were to apply for gaming fund.
Find your own sponsors, so.
Yeah.
they're currently not a society.
Okay. Helen, you care to offer a suggestion, input?
For this one, actually, I think that we could reduce our financial support, because they could be charging more user fees, so they can generate some revenue from that end. And we were reviewing the budget at the last meeting, and the fact that they haven't put in the activities yet, so we can reduce maybe one or two of those and bring down the total amount.
Yeah, good point. Thank you. Ron?
I was in favor of this as it stood, but Helen's closer to this group than I am. I do know that they have a large patronage to their events, so I'm supportive of that. I think that if this was to go at the request, I'd be looking for them to do a separate fundraiser or find their own sponsor. I'd be happy to assist them with that.
Do you want to propose an alternate cash number?
Unless I'm guided by Helen, I don't have an alternate number.
Yeah, okay. Helen, would you care to propose an alternate, actually move and make an alternate motion for cash number?
Off the top of my head, I would say 5,000 would be plenty.
Okay.
Well, not plenty, of course, but it would be good enough for the remaining of this year.
Okay, so that's an amendment motion. Can I have a second for that amendment motion? Not seeing any seconds. That motion is unseconded. We will not consider it. We go back to the original motion, which is 6580 cash and 1850 in kind. I'll call the question. All in favor? Helen, are you raising your hand?
Okay, sure, yes. Yes.
Okay, so now the motion, we have 1 yes and 3 no's. So now we have to have a motion for what we are going to want. So Fred, I'm pointing at you. Make a motion.
Well, if I can make my comment, was what I'm stalling at is, I'm very much in favor of lowering the amount, but I can't honestly say I understand how they're doing things well enough to say that 5 is a good number or 6580 is the good number.
Yeah, I mean, my issue here is that, the Arts Council and the Play School Association serve a much wider audience than just their membership. The Arts Council specifically, they put up banners, they print posters, they put on events well attended by the entire village, not just by their membership. Same for the Play School Association, starting with Santa's Breakfast and going through, quite besides the fact that they're a very strategic element of Lions Bay. The Senior Social Circle events are attended only by their membership. They don't put on anything for the wider village. So we would be funding a one-for-one numbers here divided by their membership that we're essentially subsidizing whatever the number it turns out to be. The other ones are much harder to quantify. It's more a strategic decision. So to be honest, I'm completely lost on where we stand on motions now.
There's no motion on the floor.
There's no motion on the table right now. So, however, we need to fund them something. Otherwise, it's going to be what we see here. So, can I have an alternate
It
motion?
won't be what you see here unless you move that it be what you see here.
Because that was the motion.
That motion failed. 3-1.
Yeah, 685.
Carl? Carl?
Yes.
Could we go back and ask them to come back with the hearing on budget?
No, this is it. We're deciding now.
Oh, okay.
Can I resurrect Helen's motion of 5,000 and the in-kind as well?
Okay, thank you. Second?
Second.
Okay, we'll call the question on that one. Helen, the motion is 5,000 cash, 1850 in kind. What do you say?
Yes,
I'm calling for in favor.
Yes.
in favor.
Okay, thank you. So that carries. So you got that? 5,000 and 1850. Would anybody like to talk about any of the other ones, or shall we accept them en bloc?
I'm fine.
Okay, fine. So the municipal grant applications as amended, can I have a motion? Just to cover it all, thank you, and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor? Opposed? That carries. Okay, so you guys have got the numbers there. Sean, are you sufficiently happy that you've got the numbers recorded?
Yeah, that's for the remaining.
The remaining are as they are, yeah.
As they are below the senior circle.
Good? Peter, you're happy with it? You know that you got the numbers nailed down?
Helen,
Yep.
you got that too?
Yes,
Okay, good. Fine, thanks. We'll move on to staff reports. Public Works Manager, update on IMP. Nikki? You're looking very sportif.
It's the jaunty scarf that does it. Okay, so you have my report in front of you. It's simply information to date. It tried to encapsulate what the infrastructure committee discussions had been. It captured what the public who attended that meeting had told us, and attempted to encapsulate everything that wasn't associated with technical difficulties associated with the INP. So there's probably not much point in going over everything that's in here. I think we've all read it.
We've all read it.
With regard to next steps, we have,
Although, can I just ask, Nick, before you
Yeah.
get to next steps, is this what's been communicated to them?
yes,
Verbatim?
pretty much.
Yeah. So the specific, so for example, I raised a whole bunch of specific issues to do with typos, mislabeled diagrams and stuff.
Mhm.
Is that,
Oh, that would have been included as well.
okay, fine. So, and there was no other input from the IC that Fred informs me, nothing specific, other than what happened verbally that you've encapsulated. So it's,
Correct,
so this is a subset of what has gone to the engineer.
correct.
Okay, good,
There
thank you.
have been many things that have gone to the engineer since we got the first draft.
And since the IC meeting on Monday?
Since the IC meeting on Monday, this is what has gone to.
Okay, so I'm not, then
Have you
so-
sent the written copy to them? They've seen this?
They've seen most of this, yes, correct.
okay,
So
Okay.
if you're asking if I sent them
Copied them.
this report like this?
no, I wouldn't assume that. This is to council. But
Correct.
it seems to me that much of this content would have come out of something that you sent to them.
It was more the other way around. I wrote this, encapsulated everything that we had talked about in the IC, and presented it to AECom as well.
Okay, so this is fairly high level because it doesn't
Correct.
address any of the mislabeled diagrams and.
Right, but
Yeah, that's noise level stuff.
that's more of an ongoing conversation
okay.
than.
Okay, so I interrupted, so next steps.
So, Peter and I have a meeting with AECom on Thursday at 1 p.m.
And what are we hoping to accomplish out of that?
Well, we're hoping to get a lot of feedback and next steps and what they're going to do to address all of these concerns that we've got. So we'll report back after that. But at this point, we're simply trying to keep council in the loop at a, not at the, we ask them to change this sentence level, but more of a encapsulated level.
Yeah, no, I think our concerns are at a far higher level than that before we start worrying about spell checking.
Yes.
Okay, thank you very much. Is that the report? Any input, questions?
I'm quite happy with the report that she's given here. She's sent the exact message to AECOM that I would want to have sent, so thank you.
I attended the meeting. This is an outstanding recap. Thank you.
Yeah, I agree. Thank you very much. So, Helen, anything from you?
No.
Okay, so I'll take a motion to receive. Thanks, and a second. All in favour? It carries unanimous. Oh, Helen, sorry, I didn't. Were you in favour?
Yes.
Thank you. That's unanimous. Thanks, Nick. That's great. And we are at A2. Liability coverage for events committee, page 17.
So this had been discussed in terms of some of the risks that we perceive for the operations of the village and its valuable volunteer contingents, and this was identified as one that was requiring some attention right away. The Municipal Insurance Association implemented a program last year which provides that groups which provide these kinds of services, we can cover them under our own insurance for a small fee of $250. It is subject to the same terms and conditions as our own insurance, like in terms of the deductible, and if there was a claim, it would affect our rates the same as if we had made the claim ourselves.
Peter, interrupt you in mid-flow there. What is the coverage? Is it liability coverage or is it
Yes.
more than that?
Yes, it's liability coverage.
It's only liability?
Yeah.
Okay, well, pretty good premium for that, but all right. And do I understand correctly that it is only the events committee that you judge needs to be covered at this stage?
That was sort of the top of the list. There are potentially other options for other groups, but this was the best option right away to cover these guys. So.
Okay, fine. And then my third and final question, I promise, is the events committee not a society, and does that not need to be the named insured in the third line of the agreement?
I don't think they're a society.
Do we know? They're not.
No.
So a committee, it's not a committee of council, it's an ad hoc committee, self-declared. That is sufficiently an entity that...
It's any person or group, so
okay.
it could be a single individual
Okay,
that
fine.
provides a service
So
on behalf of the municipality. So they're doing this on behalf of the municipality, and we're able to incorporate them under our insurance on that basis.
but it's a non-official committee, but it's still
Yes.
covered as an individual.
Right.
Good. Okay, so the recommendation is to approve or to receive?
It's to approve. You have to approve the agreement, which then would have to be signed by somebody on behalf of the events committee, and then forwarded to MIA for them to implement the coverage.
The events committee is aware of this? Presumably the chair would be the person?
I'm not 100% sure what discussions CFO has had or not.
But this doesn't open them up to any further cost? They wouldn't be absorbing this
No,
cost?
no.
So there'd be no reason for them to object?
I wouldn't think so.
Okay, so I'll make the motion. Oh, sorry. Rick?
One question, if another group comes along and wants to get the coverage, you said it could be added on, would it be for an extra premium or?
Yes, each group or service provider would have to enter into a separate service agreement. Yeah, so it'd be a separate premium.
Could we not just say all residents of Lions Bay? Good.
Yeah.
No.
I'll sign. Okay, that's fine. It's prudent for a minimal cost.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I'll make the motion that the draft service provider agreement between the Village of Lions Bay and the Village of Lions... It is between the Village of Lions Bay and the Village of Lions Bay Events Committee be approved, and that the agreement be forwarded to the Events Committee for execution and then forwarded to the MIA with payment of the premium of $250. Can I have a second? Any further discussion? Helen?
No, none.
Thank you. Call the question. All in favour? Opposed? Helen, what did you say?
In favor.
Thank you. That's unanimous. Thanks, Peter. Good stuff. Report A2. approval of live fire exercise for Lions Bay Fire Rescue. Live fire means to me non-blank ammunition, but okay. I'm sure that's not what you meant. Because I read that and I think, holy, what's going on?
Yeah, no, that's not what I meant. So the fire department has an opportunity with respect to a property that's slated for demolition, has the owner's consent, and is looking to get council approval to conduct a burn exercise within the building. Doesn't mean that they're going to burn down the building instead of it being demolished. It's just being used for the burning of regulated combustibles like wooden pallets and things that they use for these kinds of things. And they'll be doing all this in accordance with guidelines and operating guidelines and so forth, so as stipulated in the report. I wasn't sure if Andrew was going to come tonight and speak to it, but he was also going to try and contact the neighbors prior to tonight, but I didn't get an answer back on that. But that would certainly be part of the requirement in terms of going forward, or in terms of the approval would be notification. Whether or not you choose to make it notification or approval of the neighbors would be something that I leave to you.
Is this properly before council? Is this a council decision?
I believe it is. My understanding is that previously there's been one or two other occasions in the past. These things don't happen too often, but I think the appropriate thing is to seek council approval. It's not within the normal course of events for the fire department, so it's a little bit out of the norm, and as the council has the ultimate responsibility for the fire department, I think it's prudent and proper that the fire chief has come to council with this request. So,
if I can add a little bit here, as far as coming for approval is council must approve all activities of the fire department unless it's written in their bylaw, and burning houses down is not one of their priorities.
It's pallets on houses, but yeah.
Right.
Okay, good point.
Okay, and just to be candid about the whole thing, the fire chief spoke to me today.
I think they'd get a bit of ringtone, I mean, really. 15 years. We lost you, but you're back.
Okay.
Yeah.
He had said to me that he would like to hold off asking the neighbors' permission until he got a green light from council, rather than bother the neighbors and find out he didn't get permission in the first place. So that's his plan so far. The thing I was concerned about with similar to the Bayview Place house fire that was burnt down in 10 years ago, 11 years ago. One requirement back then was getting a suitable air quality index for the day before the burn goes. Sometimes you can get the low-hanging smoke that's going to choke everybody. Sometimes you get a good thermal column and there's no problem at all. So they will wait on the day of the burn, if approved, to get all the air quality issues taken care of. I had that as a further requirement to the approval, and he's already there, so that's fine. As far as
where was it in terms of the air quality? I didn't see that in the recommendation.
No, I just brought it up with him because I was going to suggest it at this meeting, and he's planning that in the first place.
So you're saying that we don't need to instruct him to do that because that would be best practice as far as he was concerned anyway?
Yeah, he's
okay.
he's already okay with that, and that's what was done with the Bayview Place one. They had all the checkbox marked off. I don't know if the records are still available. You might see all the criteria that they lived up to on that one, and everything was fine. They've got all the safety measures in place, the tanker, the extra hose. Even if our water system goes down, they'll still have enough water to put the house on. The other thing he mentioned is that when he first spoke to the CAO about this, there was a canopy, a tree canopy pretty close to the house, and so he wasn't willing to see the whole house burn down. And he's not really sure about the value to the fire department of burning the whole house down. But since then, the owners have trimmed a lot of the trees in the vicinity, so we don't have this tree canopy. And the owners would like them to burn the house down completely. So he's open to the idea, but he would if we give approval tonight for doing the fire, he would come back to council for a sort of an addendum to that if they do want to go ahead and do the whole house. But as it is, it says it's written right now.
My piece is for the CAO. If the citizen is giving benefit to the village and it's financially quantifiable, such as the value of the house, that looks like a tax receipt to me. And I'm aware that in other situations where a house has been donated for fire, that the assessment value has been given as the value of the house. And that can be, I would guess, a pretty big windfall for somebody. So I'm not suggesting we give this homeowner tax advice, but perhaps a phone call that they may choose to explore this would be a fair deal. And that's my gift to this resident.
Yeah, I wouldn't know one way or the other. I would think deliberate burning of an asset is, unless it's...
I'd like to think of it as a donation.
Yeah. My concern, and I'm now really concerned to hear that there's in contemplation to burn the whole thing down. I was concerned about the air quality impact even beforehand. If we do as is the stipulation here, and we burn some pallets inside there, the wood is going to get charred inside, presumably. If the owner is then responsible for demolition, it's a different kind of demolition to demolish charred wood, especially if it gets really charred. It may even become dangerous to allow a demolition crew in there. However, burning down an entire log house, I mean, what we're really looking for is a waiver of our open burning bylaw, because we're not even allowed to burn sticks in the garden. So this is quite a lot of burning. I would take it for granted that the fire department would do it when the air quality wasn't going to be adversely impacted. Although an entire house burning, however well protected around the outside so that it doesn't catch alight, is a lot of smoke for a very long time.
Well, I have to say, when they refer to it as a log house, it's not proper logs as we're used to. Like the fire chief's house is a legitimate log house with the big timbers. This one, as I understand from the fire chief, is those blocks that have tongue and groove on them.
Yeah.
We used to call them panamode houses.
Yes,
Yeah. So the fire load is a lot less than a full log house. So the burn time would be a lot less. In a full log house, they'd be there for a couple of days before the thing
More
burned.
precisely. Okay, well, so that makes a slight difference, but I still wouldn't be very much in favor of burning the entire house down. But then the homeowner needs to know that he's facing an increased bill to demolish the house.
Well, that's the issue. It is in the homeowner's best interest for them to burn the whole thing
Sure,
down.
I understand that.
But it's not, the fire chief says there's very little benefit by burning the whole house down for the department. So they would be in effect doing a favor for the homeowner for donating the house, but with Ron's suggestion, maybe he'll be able to afford the hallway a little more easily.
Yeah, I'd be very concerned about the impact on the air quality, which may last for days. The smell of smoke will pervade the village for miles around. What about the drainage of the water used to put it out? Where is the water going to go?
Yeah.
Ashy, horrible water.
Yeah, on the Bayview Place one, it was all had to be channeled. There was sandbagging to keep it out of people's property. And,
Where'd it go?
down the street,
The street absorbed it.
miraculously, out of
Yes.
sight, out of mind. Yeah, can't comment on that one. Anyhow, that was the point of the fire chief, is saying that should they want to explore the idea of burning the whole thing down, they would come back to council. So by approving this tonight, we would not be approving the full house burn down.
Yeah, did you get the sense that the homeowner realized that he was facing a larger demolition bill and no tax certificate for allowing his house to be used as the venue for a pallet fire?
Yeah, I don't think it was an issue with him, as I get from the fire chief.
Okay.
But he had no idea of Ron's suggestion, so maybe it's going to be a sunnier day for him after all.
Okay, well, as presented here, I'm okay with that, but I'm not okay with burning down the entire house, both because of the air quality impact and because of the additional use of putting out water that's got to go somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
But having said that, I would say that this recommendation, I would like to amend it with the owner's final consent, because he needs to go in here fully informed as to his potential added demolition costs, which he would have to do.
Mm-hmm.
and there's absolutely no suggestion that Lions Bay would be responsible for the further demolition.
Right.
And do we want the neighbours to simply be notified, or must they approve?
Well, again, using the Bayview Place house fire, it was approved all around, so.
I would think that, I certainly wouldn't like to be told that the house next door is going to be burned down on purpose. I don't think. Hey, Ron?
No.
So, and we require,
I mean, actually, Carl, to your point, there's a whole lot of what's in it for me. For not just the neighbors, the street, the people across. I mean,
well, some of it's training. It's for our fire department. That's the benefit. Our fire guys get a little better
I was
training.
thinking of the neighborhood.
Yeah, it's going to make a bit of a mess.
Yeah.
Although, again, using the Bayview Place fire, what was in it for the neighborhood, it was quite a show for all day. Some were thinking of bringing hot dogs.
Simpler times. Okay, so are we willing to consider a motion with those small amendments that the owner's final consent,
Peter,
or
do
let's
you
say
have-
final informed consent, or do you want to bring this back, Peter?
Peter, do you have anything more? Do you want to bring it back? I mean, there's no magic. to
When are we
today.
talking about?
I guess if it came back, it would be April 5th.
No, when are they talking about burning?
Well, I think they wanted to do it sooner than later, but I don't know if there's any deadlines.
Okay, let's finish it off then. So I would say, I'll just make some things here and then I'll read them out as a motion.
Well, if we do the neighborhood consent or neighbors consent, what if one says yes, one says no?
Okay, I was going to say the unanimous consent.
No, when you say neighbors, do you mean
Contiguous neighbors.
adjacent
Adjacent
on
neighbors.
either
Four
side?
corners.
All contiguous properties touching the property.
Contiguous neighbors. Contiguously adjacent?
Or how about across the road as well?
I don't know how far do you go then?
How far you can
Yeah.
stretch it.
Well,
I thought you
directly
just
in the
go
road.
adjacent, and if there's anybody behind.
Yeah,
Where are we talking?
I can't.
Oh,
picture
240
this.
Ocean View. Yeah.
Which one is this?
240 Ocean View? I can't remember the house right off
Can't
the top of
remember
my
the
head.
house.
Yeah, it's quite a steep slope down.
There's somebody
it's
below,
a, it's a,
isn't there?
It's a road-to-road lot, so there's only two neighbors.
Yeah, the ones on the other side of the road are far enough apart that it shouldn't be an issue.
Should be okay.
Unless they were burning the whole thing down, but just an interior fire shouldn't be that much of a problem.
Is immediate neighbors a sufficient definition?
Immediately adjacent?
Immediately adjacent. That's good enough. Okay, so I'll read the motion and ask for a second that with the owner's final informed consent, the Lions Bay Fire Rescue Department be permitted to conduct a controlled burn exercise at 240 Ocean View Road prior to the planned demolition of the structure. Is that sufficiently restrictive that they don't go and burn the whole thing down? Controlled burn, just
I'm not sure if I'm comfortable with informed consent, because sometimes that's a term of art that means a certain thing.
Okay.
And
Final consent then?
we don't
It's
want to be
just like
responsible for him
contractual.
getting legal advice.
yeah. Final consent.
Yeah, final consent,
Okay.
knowing that
I'll read this again, don't worry. We're just going to have to wordsmith this a little bit because we want to do it tonight rather than bring it back. So pardon the round and round and round. I would like to then define a little bit better what's allowed. Let's just say as in the CAO's report of March 17th.
controlled burn exercise
That could mean anything.
using wooden pallets. Okay.
If I could say on the second paragraph under key information, he does make reference according to their operational guideline requirements, which deals more in detail with how to burn down a house, so to speak.
Okay, that's what I'm saying. That needs to be included in the council resolution.
Yeah, but your reference to this report, would that not?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, but that we need to reference it in the resolution. So what we could say is, controlled burn exercise at 240 Ocean View Road, as proposed in the CAO's report of March 17th. Prior to the planned demolition of structure, and that the unanimous consent of the immediately adjacent neighbors be obtained in advance of the exercise. Everybody good with that? I'll read it again. Okay. You're good? Helen, you fine?
Yes, I'm good.
Okay, good. So that was the motion. Can we have a second? I'll give it to you. Do you have it sufficiently?
Can you read it one more time?
Yeah, okay, I'll read it one more time. That with the owner's final consent, the Lions Bay Fire Rescue Department be permitted to conduct a controlled burn exercise at 240 Ocean View Road, as proposed in the CAO's report of March 17th, prior to the planned demolition of the structure by the owner, and that the unanimous consent of the immediately adjacent neighbors be obtained in advance of the exercise. Can I have a second? Thanks. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Yes.
Helen, are you in favor?
I am.
That's unanimous. Thanks. And we will move on to Mayor's report. There are none. Council report. Councillor McLaughlin, Canada Day.
Sorry,
no,
no,
we
no,
back up
no,
here. I think
there was
there's
an
a CAO
addition.
report.
CO verbal.
Beg your pardon. Sorry, beg your pardon.
And then the infrastructure minutes.
So, I just wanted to bring to your attention, because it came in too late for being added to the correspondence, but there is a BC Spill Response Regime Engagement Workshop being held in Richmond April 20th to 21st. And as well, there is a roundtable discussion being held April 8th at the WASC Centre in Vancouver regarding the same topic. I did have a discussion with Ruth Simons, who is involved in this stuff, but hadn't received an invitation to this. And it occurred to me that it may be that council would like to invite Ruth to attend on behalf of the village's interests, or I wanted to share it with you first and just see if there was something, whether council wanted to...
Who's putting it on, and what exactly is it?
So it's Ministry of Environment is hosting a 2-day workshop, April 20th and 21st, and it's to receive comment from partners on the proposed world leading spill response regime. So people...
Spill as in marine spill, or fuel spill, or...
Yeah, it's...
This is G11 and a correspondence package.
It is in the correspondence package, yeah.
Is it? Oh, sorry. I didn't think it made it in. Sorry.
Well, that's fine. We'll discuss it here. I would move to table that decision, pending even a mayor's report. Quickly for the next meeting.
And then there's also the thing on, I don't think this is in the correspondence, is the thing on the April 8th is WestAC, Coast Marine Spill Prevention, Preparedness and Response Capacities, a roundtable at the WASC Centre. But you could table that to the same discussion if you're going to...
Yeah, or we can just receive, I mean, you're not making a recommendation, right?
No, I just wanted to bring it up so that you're aware, and then if you wanted to consider any options for attendance.
Okay, well, to bear that in mind, because we do see it in correspondence later.
Okay,
Let's
sorry
just
about
take a
that.
motion to receive for now. Yeah,
Okay.
good, okay. All in favor of receipt of that information from the CAO? Helen, you're good with that?
Yes.
Thanks, okay, so that's received. You got that adequately? Okay, good, thanks. Okay, now we're going. Skipping over B because the mayor has nothing. Councillor McLaughlin, Canada Day.
Infrastructure minutes.
Oh, I thought we came after you, don't we?
Do we?
Yeah, you're next,
Okay,
dude.
B, I'm next. Canada Day, I've already covered my stuff, so we're good.
Thank you. And thanks for taking that on, by the way. It's good to just get it catalyzed.
Yeah.
Committees. Fred, I see minute set.
3 sets of minutes are on table for information, council's information, just to keep everybody up to date. The December minutes are the approved minutes. The February and March ones are yet to be approved by the infrastructure committee. Thanks.
Okay, thanks. It's going to be hard to absorb now, given that it's voluminous. So, motion to receive for now.
Yep.
And absorb later. Which ones are the ones that have been approved?
December. I think that's
The top ones? Okay. Okay. Okay, so you want to move receipt, Fred?
Sure.
Thanks. And a second? Thanks. Any further discussion? Helen? I know you haven't seen it. It's a big wad of paper.
Okay, it's in your box now.
It's in your box. Okay, so all in favor of receipt and opposed? Carries. I need a bigger binder. Okay. IC Chair report.
I was just going to report out onto a meeting I went to last Thursday with 2 other members of the infrastructure committee. It had to do with the critical infrastructure assessment tool. If I could just read out what just so I can be brief and stay on topic. Lions Bay was asked by the Justice Institute of BC to provide assistance in evaluating their critical infrastructure assessment tool and the presentation materials for it prior to being offered across Canada to cities and communities. The project, although developed by the Justice Institute, is funded in BC by the Emergency Management BC and initiated by our National Defence Research and Development Canada in Ottawa. The tool has been developed to assist municipalities, industries, and communities in identifying and rating their critical infrastructure assets within a defined geographic area that may be at risk from a hazardous event. Darren Blackburn of the JI came to Lions Bay and met with some members of our infrastructure committee, being Brian Ulrich, Jim Outry, and me. Brian was particularly pleased with the help our members provided, to the point that he left with 3 full pages of notes on how to make the presentation better. He said he chose Lions Bay as we're a very small community, and he wanted to know if the tool would be understood by a small town community. My colleagues...
Country Rubes, you mean?
Yeah. Well, he had some other words that I won't repeat. My colleagues impressed him with the quality of the content they provided. He got much more than he thought he was going to get. As mentioned above, the main use of the tool is for interpretation for hazardous events, or for preparation, for hazardous events, as opposed to a simple listing of assets. It is therefore an emergency management tool. And I think we'll probably hear from him again sometime. So he was very appreciative of being able to fine-tune his project.
That's great, and thank you for taking it on as well, because that was going nowhere fast under my unenthusiastic tutelage. So
there's 5 of us for a reason.
Thank you very much, Fred. That's good. So you think it may actually turn into something useful, even for the country bumpkins?
Tiny us.
Yeah, tiny us.
Well, actually, he if I could sort of go off message, he did say at one point that he's dealt with the Fraser Valley Regional District, Capital Regional District, and a few bigger towns in Metro Vancouver, and he said that they all had their particular focus, but he was quite relieved to get sort of a broad spectrum from a couple of engineers that really saw through some of the weaknesses in the program that he's able to tweak. So I think he felt like he hit a gold mine with our 2 members from the IC.
That's great, and it behooves us to do well by the JI and by EMBC. So I would like to think that we would cooperate more than just duty bound.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, great, thanks. Motion to receive Fred's report. Fred, you can move. No, in fact, I don't think you can move receipt of your own report. Thanks. I'll second that.
Does it need to be in the minutes?
Yeah.
Or?
So this will be an on-table item. Thanks, Sean. Helen, any discussion? I'll take that as a no.
Yeah.
Okay, so
No discussion.
okay, thanks. So call the question. All in favour of receipts? Anyone opposed? It carries. Okay. Where are we? That was it for committees. Emergency services, the reports are in your package. The first is on page 25. Kind of a quiet month for the fire department.
Fred, do you know how long Adam Woodward has been with us?
I don't know. We could go back.
I understand that the number in their sequencing doesn't mean what you think it might mean.
No, you might look at the on-call standby rates. If he's got a lower number, he's been here last time. I'm not sure exactly.
Oh, he's got a high number.
Oh, he's been a while then.
Okay, thank you.
Why do you ask?
Just in terms of the fire department, an idea of the turnover.
Yeah.
I mean, if I know when he's leaving, I don't know when he came.
Yeah. Just off the top of your head, Peter, are you aware of the fire department requiring some sort of commitment for all the training that they're going to
I
get out
know
of?
it's been discussed, but it isn't a requirement at the present time.
I certainly wouldn't want it to be seen to be the free farm training facility for the big boys.
In a tiny little village.
Yeah, in the country districts. Yeah.
We are the farm club, though.
I'm fine with that in terms of
Fine with that,
professionalism,
yeah,
but
just, but it's you pay to play.
yeah, there's the major leagues have rules around these
Yeah.
things. You don't get to just draft.
Yeah, thank you.
You got to pay a fee. Okay, so anything going on there? The department's down to 20 minus 3. Fred, commentary?
Yeah, I think it's a natural turn of events as things go.
Cyclical?
There seems to be a hiring season for the big departments. You know, when they know what their budget is, we'll see a drop in our numbers. And they slowly bring people in when they get wind of what Lions Bay has to offer for them. 30 is their usual high number, so we're well down from that. But,
Half, in fact.
yeah, but they'll manage. It'll come back up again.
Okay, very good. So we'll move on to the police report. People following along in there? Otherwise you don't know what we're talking about. Not much happening. Nothing salacious, juicy. Okay, so motion to receive the 2 public safety reports. Thanks. And second by Fred. Any further discussion? All in favor? Helen, I'll take you as a yes.
Helen?
A lot of lag there. I'll take that as a yes. And good, thank you. Opposed? That carries. Resolutions, renaming. Are there reports around these? I don't think there are, right? I don't remember.
Not on these resolutions,
Okay.
no.
So there is a recommendation from
CAO.
CAO that the email newsletter be renamed as the Village Update. Council's seen various correspondence around this. There's been some discussion around this table on that. Can I have a motion? An according motion. A second. Thanks. Any discussion? Helen?
Helen, you're fine with this?
Oh, very much so, yes.
That's a pretty short but sweet commentary. Thank you. Any further comments? All in favour? Opposed? That carries unanimously. Thank you, Peter, for that one. And appointment of tree committee members. The recommendation of staff is that council appoint or reappoint the following members to the tree committee: Simon Waterson, Mike Jury, Tony Clayton, Jim Cannell, and Councillor McLaughlin.
Do I need to leave?
Pardon me?
Do I need to leave?
No, there's a council appointment.
You can't vote.
Okay.
Or, well, no, you shouldn't vote.
Well, my question is this a select committee or a standing committee?
No, it's a committee appointed through the terms of reference in the bylaw, but it is unclear as to the resolution trail of who has been appointed in the past. So I've spoken with the chair of the committee, Simon Waterson. His resolution was clear, and he has spoken with each of the members that you see there on the page, and everyone is game, as I understand it.
Do we feel that we want at the committee level more council oversight, seeing that all their recommendations come to council for approval anyway?
Happy as it is.
Ron, do you even need to be on the committee?
No, I just happen to be in the village.
Are you good with that?
I'm fine.
Are you happy to be on the committee?
Yeah.
It's not like you don't have anything else to do.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, the only other point I had on that one is that the very next thing will be to rename the committee a different name.
Sorry, you gonna pass a motion on the?
Well, I'm just
or-
wondering
or
if we
move a
want
motion?
to.
Sorry.
Not yet. I want to know, is it called the tree committee?
The bylaw report will show that the proposal, as amended, would be to rename it Trees, Views and Landscapes.
Okay, so we first appoint the members, and then if the next one goes through, then
Yeah, it
The
will
same members will-
automatically become.
it'll automatic. So
yes,
we don't have
the
to
name of the
read.
committee will change. We don't have to redo it.
Fine, okay. So the motion is that council appoint reappoint the following members to the tree committee: Simon Watterson, Mike Jury, Tony Clayton, Jim Cannell, and Councillor Ron McLaughlin. Second? Further discussion? Helen, are you declaring conflict?
Should I?
It's up to you.
No, I don't know, Peter, should I be declaring conflict?
Yeah, you know, I didn't even think about that. No,
There's no conflict of interest or personal interest here.
there's no monetary gain. There's no non-pecuniary gain. I can't see that you're in a conflict position on this particular.
But that's solely your judgment, Helen.
Okay, I'm going to say no conflict.
Fine, okay, so I'll call the question. All in favour? Ron?
Yes.
You, I believe, you have to recuse yourself from the vote?
Well, I
Peter?
think Peter said recuse, I thought.
Because this is not a committee of council, this is a bylaw committee.
Mhm.
I'll have to seek guidance here.
Carol, if you give your nod, you point
I
to
think
me.
it'd be preferable if Councillor McLaughlin did not vote on this. It's not needed for.
Because Helen's a yes, correct, Helen?
You've
Yes,
got
I'm
to
a
be-
yes.
And I'm a yes, so that's adequate, so your vote's not
Don't you
needed.
need live quorum?
No. As long as we have 3 people at the table,
Okay.
that's fine. But the vote, as long as we have 3 votes, or majority vote,
Okay.
which is 3 in
Done,
this case.
okay.
Fine, okay, good. So that carries. It's complicated. It's good stuff. If you like that kind of stuff. Okay, so the next one is bylaws.
Better than the trees itself.
Okay, you've seen the report. You've seen the tree bylaw amendment bylaw. I never understand about all these bylaws in there, but all right. Well, but although, please do tell me, just Peter, why don't we just do a new tree bylaw? Why do we have to have an amendment bylaw?
Well, it's. I guess I could have started from scratch, but there was enough there that it was better to just amend the skeleton and flesh it out. And so what you see is what you got. And got all the amendments, and they show up in red on the second attachment.
And
So
it's
you can see-
particularly appreciated, by the way.
See what's changed. Yeah, and my apologies for not getting that on a previous amendment bylaw, but yeah, this is the way you will normally see bylaw amendments from me.
Okay, I'm still not sure. I still didn't quite get the answer. What we're voting on is amending the existing bylaw. So the bylaw will always contain these amendments.
No, but the bylaw always contained, when you go to the second attachment, contained everything that's in black and everything that's in crossed out red. And the amendments are now in underlined red, so you can read what it will read.
I
like.
understand that part,
Okay.
but this is amendment bylaw number 491. That'll be on the books.
Yes,
It will have a one-time use and never be used again, but it will be a current bylaw, simply to amend another bylaw, rather than replacing a bylaw.
so what will happen is you've got this amendment bylaw, which amends the original bylaw number 393.
Yep.
And then the next step in this process, after this has been entered into the bylaw index, will be that we will have a consolidation of bylaw 393, sub 2007. So bylaw 393 will read like what you see with all the red underlining and so forth, but it won't have all that red underlining in it. But you will have a consolidated bylaw 393, 2007, as amended. And the consolidated bylaw will list at the very beginning of it, will show what bylaw amended it, and so that if you wanted to go and see, oh, what do those amendments look like, you could go look up bylaw 491. But otherwise, you wouldn't have any reason to go look up bylaw 491 because all of the changes would show, you'd have a complete bylaw in 393. So that's all you should need to look at, unless you're curious and you want to see what was amended.
And what would the date of 393 be?
It would be 393 sub 2007 as amended. So what you have is, when you amend bylaws and you then consolidate them, you have the original bylaw as consolidated. You always have the original bylaw, and that's what you work with. You don't just write a new bylaw every time you want to amend it. The proper way to do it is to amend it and then consolidate it.
Okay, so we'll go through a second step to do the consolidation later.
Yeah, consolidation will come after. That will be an
Okay.
administrative step that we will take. And then we will put that consolidated bylaw on the website.
So now, it will be the Village of Lions Bay tree bylaw number 393, but it's actually now the trees, views and landscapes bylaw.
That's right.
So the name of it will be one thing, but or will the consolidation take care of the new
The
title?
consolidation will take care of the new
So on the
title.
cover page it will say something different.
Yes.
Okay. Okay, fine. I think I understand the legal niceties. Very good if you're of legal mind. So my only question here that I had was the ancient growth trees. Is it ancient or old? I've never heard.
Which page are you looking at?
57 of 138, Schedule C. I don't know, ancient growth, I mean, that sounds like the Cathedral Grove in Yellowstone National Park. But in terms of, I think, is the term not old growth? Or even some other name? I'm not asking for the answer now necessarily.
Mm.
Trees greater than 90 centimeters in diameter, as I remember from the old bylaw, or some other thing, it was measured a certain height above the mean slope.
And I think that definition is in the bylaw itself.
Okay, that's what I was asking. I didn't go back and look.
Yeah, it's definition of tree, gives you how you measure it.
Definition of tree. Good stuff. Where is that?
That's in the definitions under tree,
Oh, okay.
page 40. I'm still trying to find the word ancient.
Oh, down at the bottom here. Sorry, ancient growth.
Oh, yeah, ancient growth trees. Yeah, I don't know, I didn't, the only thing I changed on Schedule C was the name of the committee.
Yeah, so that Schedule C is, that was what we had before. That's not to say that it was right, unfortunately. Ancient growth, do we want to take this opportunity to look it up and fix it? But you're looking for first, second and third reading
I'm
here,
just
right?
looking to see, I'm just looking to see if ancient is defined in here, the ancient growth trees. It's not. Significant trees is defined.
Yes, significant is, sure.
Species
I don't see definitions for memorial trees, ornamental trees and specimen trees, but
no.
I mean, it doesn't really matter. It defines them here. Say it louder, even though you're not allowed to.
Trees greater than 90 centimeters in diameter are considered ancient growth.
Yeah, no, that's what it says here, but I've never heard of the term ancient growth before.
Well, that's like us guys, we're over 90. No.
Well, I think actually it serves a purpose in that if we called it old growth trees, that could be confusing because a lot of people have an idea as to what's an old growth tree.
Yeah.
We have an ancient growth tree and we've defined what it is, so we're better off this way.
Okay, and 90 centimeters? That comes from somewhere? Some expert opinion, presumably?
I didn't look into the genesis of where all these measurements and so forth came from. I started off with this project trying to fix a procedural deficiency.
Okay, and then my only other thing was in Schedule D. There it states the Trees, Views and Landscapes Committee is a select committee of council. Yet it looks to me like a standing committee.
It's not a standing committee, it's a select committee of council which is created by bylaw. It's still a select committee of council as opposed to a standing committee of council. There is something though that I would like to point out on page 38. That should just be stricken. It's just sort of on the back of the bylaw. It was where it says Schedule A and Schedule B. That should just be stricken because Schedule A and B follow. And there was one other thing. At the very bottom of Schedule B on page 55, I want to add right below this permit expires on, and there's a blank line. And I'll put below the blank line, it should say 1 year from date granted.
Yeah. Okay, I'm going to move first and second reading on this, but not third. I'm just taking it as read that we can do, in theory, our procedures bylaw allows 3 readings in one sitting.
Mm-hmm.
It does. But I don't think we're ready for final in this one yet.
We can't do it today anyways.
Sorry?
We can't adopt today anyways.
No, but if we do third reading, we can't do any changes.
The chairman's seen all of this.
Yeah, I went over the proposed changes with the chair. Wasn't all completed like this,
Okay.
but he agreed with the direction, the general direction, and the amendments that were being proposed.
Thank you.
Do you have a particular issue with anything?
I think it's very fast. You guys happy? Ron, you're the guy who's going to be working with this thing.
I think it's a big cleanup piece, but to your point of it's a lot of stuff, and to do the first 2 and then do the next one's fine. I read it, but without any real knowledge of what I was looking at.
Do you want to talk about some of the changes that are highlighted in the report?
Well, in Schedule E, we've inserted subject to current budget and labour allocations.
Yeah. Because the reason I put that in there was because I was concerned that it was creating a positive obligation which we might not be able to meet if budget wasn't sufficiently allocated to do all the things that were being stated. So that's why I put that in there.
Yeah, that's true. Although, some of the stuff, emergency work, this presupposes that the existing trees bylaw is a good piece of work. The original intent at the beginning of this council's term was to replace the trees bylaw with a new trees, views and landscapes. There's no discussion here about views and landscapes. This is really just the trees bylaw with some cosmetic changes and a name change. We haven't yet addressed anything to do with views and landscapes.
Well, the bylaw itself states, right in its prelude, that it's a bylaw to manage the preservation and replacement of, and to regulate the pruning and removal of, trees on municipally owned lands for the safety and enjoyment of residents of the village of Lions Bay. So the first whereas is council wishes to make trees or manage trees on municipal lands in order to protect natural environment of Lions Bay for the future of the village, while at the same time taking into account the need to protect public safety as well as, wherever feasible, the preservation of scenic views and of added and landscapes.
Yeah, but it doesn't say how that's to happen. Doesn't it say anything, for example, about view covenants or documentation of legacy views or view corridor preservation or any of that sort of new stuff? I also thought that we decided we weren't going to do this now, therefore, whereas format. But okay, that's neither here nor there. I'm not comfortable doing 3 readings on this today.
Okay.
Yeah. So move first and second reading. Second. And further discussion. I think we've lost Helen, so this will have to be unanimous. First and second reading, all in favour? Opposed, that carries. Okay, so we've got one more kick at this can. There may be, I would like to see some thinking about the other two elements of the trees part, which is the views and landscapes, specifically around covenants, native plant requirement, etc., etc. Okay.
I'm going to suggest perhaps that we have some kind of set aside a committee meeting wherein these ideas can be put forward, unless you'd like to present those ideas in a different format. But if
I've sent my ideas in, but I would hope there are many more ideas than just mine. But yeah, but that so the final bylaw can wait for that meeting to happen, right?
Yeah, I would just want to understand how staff is going to gather this additional information that you'd like to consider for this bylaw. I want to make sure that I capture all of that, and so I'm looking for some feedback in terms of how I do that. So if you've got some specific ideas, you can email them to me. But perhaps a conversation is
good.
an idea as well.
I don't know if do you just want to gather that information administratively, or do you want to do it in a committee meeting?
Well, perhaps it would be a good idea to specifically set up a committee meeting to discuss ideas as to, we can look at the bylaw as it sits now, and where committee members and others feel that there's things to be added and different perspectives to be considered. Then we can talk about all those things and decide what we should bring back to council.
That's great. Unfortunately, the chair's not here to accede to that, but you can speak on his behalf.
That would be fine. I think that's a
The
good idea.
person whom you're trying to reach is currently unavailable. Please leave a message after the beep.
I mean, there's other stuff beyond this too. I mean, you've tipped on it on legacy views, just to pick one hot potato.
Corridors?
So, I mean, that's a monstrous piece of legislation.
Could be. Yeah, it may be iterative, I don't know. But, okay, good. So, yeah, good one, Peter. We'll refer, in fact, well, we've passed first and second. I think that may have been premature, but it's fine because it doesn't lose anything. Yeah, we can refer it to committee in the future. Good. So then, Peter, you had.
Well, I think the secondary recommendation can wait till we.
Yeah, you were recommending bylaw enforcement notice bylaw number 385 as amended in order to provide another means. Yeah, and you gave the recommendations.
Actually, yeah, if you're on board with that, then that's something that I could start to set up.
Yeah, I am good with those. Did you write a report on the A part? The 10AA? I thought I saw that in here somewhere.
Sorry, what are you referring to?
The changes to the bylaw notice enforcement bylaw.
No, I haven't.
Oh, you haven't got it.
I mentioned it in the report itself.
Yeah, okay, so that's where I saw it.
Yeah.
That's where I saw it. Okay. It's a pretty voluminous report when we include. Yeah, okay. So that would just be a recommendation, a motion from council to direct staff to do that.
Yeah, so I would make the necessary changes and bring forward something, proposed amount for a fine that would be covered off in that bylaw.
Yeah, I mean, this all makes good technical sense.
And then the other one was to up the permit fee from $40 to $60.
Do you need a resolution for that?
I would.
Okay, so I'll move that staff be directed to bring forward amendments to the bylaw notice enforcement bylaw number 385 of 2006 as amended in order to provide another means of enforcement for Village of Lions Bay tree bylaw number 393 2007 as amended when it happens.
The person whom you're trying to reach is currently
And that the fees and charges bylaw number 462 as amended in order to raise the tree cutting permit fee from $40 to $60. Can I have a motion? That was the motion. Can I have a second? Further discussion? We've lost Helen. It's got to be unanimous. All in favour? That's unanimous. No, it doesn't actually. Has Helen left the meeting?
She's unable.
She's not present,
calling
so,
in either.
but you
So
still
it's got to be
have
2 out
quorum.
of 3.
Still have quorum. 2 out of 3 is correct.
Yeah. Okay. Let's transact some business.
Are you picking up where she's dropped out?
Yeah,
Sometimes it's uncertain. How do you know? Are you watching the icons? Okay, let's move on. List of correspondence. Ron, do your duty. 63.
Thank you. All right.
But don't go too fast because there's
All right.
several
Well,
points
there's
of
stuff
discussion.
that you know that I don't know. So this is the big transit fare policy review.
Yep.
This, in my view, is info only.
Yep.
And no input requested. Dear to Fred Bain's heart is the opportunity to get a wine store of the only 300 limited opportunities in the province of BC. I would suggest this is a no input, info only as well.
Now, is council aware that we have a proposition in the village for exactly such an item?
Competing with the dispensary?
As a replacement for the dispensary.
Oh, that's news to me.
So it's not something we want to be too dismissive of because we may be facing it. And are we okay with that? We have no business license situation right now. My understanding through the grapevine is that a beer and wine store is looking at the available space in the down there, whatever we call 350 Center,
Commercial enterprise?
commercial district,
I was under the understanding it's being let to some real estate agents.
the middle part,
Oh, is that what it is?
the end part that used to be the gallery.
Yeah, to me, the residents and the strata have got a big say in this. So, I mean, it's if they veto whatever goes there. I mean,
And if they don't veto,
we don't have any business licenses, so we're going where?
do we need business licenses is the point. That's not a discussion for now in the correspondence section, but it's something we need to be cognizant of because it's coming. I mentioned it in the CSC that it may not be a marijuana dispensary, but it may be something else. No, maybe we're fine with it, but I think we need to codify that.
Anyhow, to Ms. Oakes' opportunity to explore the wine industry and the wine store licenses.
Well, I think that was addressing going into grocery stores only. I don't think she was talking about the beer and wine stores, so it could be a different issue.
Yeah, that's true. But there's all this 1 kilometer limit stuff that I didn't quite get, but okay. Let's leave that for where it is now, but
Well, one could debate that there is a grocery store nearby.
But then you have to have 60%.
I mean, now we have to know the grocery store stuff.
60% of which has to be groceries.
Okay, so I think that this one, let's just call this info at this point. And I don't propose to put Peter on to exploring.
No.
Actually, while we're on that, do we presume that the marijuana thing is dead? Do you have some information?
I have no information on it one way or the other.
I mean, I wouldn't have Peter researching marijuana dispensary if it's not a live deal.
My understanding is from the report that we received from the strata that they have a mechanism to and have exercised that mechanism to not allow a marijuana dispensary in the strata.
Period.
So that's not going to happen.
Then next time we should take Peter off this assignment.
Does that mean they're going to bogart that joint?
All right, enough of that.
How long have you been waiting to use that one?
4 years. Next one, G3, the climate leadership team recommendations, and I appreciated the very personal. My email was included in the 5 pages of email addresses from my good friend Peter Fassbender. The session dates have passed, so no response.
Yeah, so I mean the session dates have passed.
So thanks, Peter.
Can I make a request of staff that they redact all these addresses to save paper and so we're not thumbing through so much junk?
Well, yeah, I suppose we could, but I'm more concerned about. We got this on the 2nd of March. There was no response.
Well, we got 3 of them that are kind of like that.
Yeah.
So it's passed.
It's passed. Okay.
Got to the quick. Next
Moot,
one.
yeah.
G4, invitation to TDM planning workshop. This is TransLink strategy sessions. It was passed. Attended by March 9th. Interested? No. Okay. Syrian refugee update. This is another email from Prov from Shirley Bond. Info, no response. G6, the Mayor's Caucus, which is in beautiful Fort St. John and is an energy-related conference. I suggest no response.
let me just get council's thinking. Do you want me to attend the mayor's caucus?
I
Is there
know.
any benefit?
No?
No.
Good.
And I actually financed the hotel you'd be staying in, so.
Oh, that'd be a conflict.
Yeah,
Good.
The dialogue with Mark Hamill, who is the director of census, limited seating, but that date is alive, April 28th, if there's an interest amongst the council members to push you to get somebody a seat there.
Yeah, council or staff. Peter?
Peter, yeah, it was.
Any
council,
interest?
so.
Attending an address by the Director General of the Census?
No.
Okay, that's a no.
Okay.
Engagement sessions on the climate leadership team's recommendation, the dates have passed.
Yeah, same thing.
G9, request for support from District of Lillooet Passenger Rail Service.
Okay, hang on a sec. Page.
G9, which I haven't done my stuff here because I'm going off a cheat sheet. I will give you.
Page
you
107.
can't miss it. It's the beautiful reinstatement of the passenger train from North Van to Prince George.
I just wanted to ask, is that the one that runs past here, or is that the one that goes up
Yeah. it goes
Hope
past
Way?
there. I believe it goes through here.
It goes through here.
Are you sure?
It's
Actually,
the
I'm
old
not so,
BC
no, it's
Used
the North
to.
Van's down at the marshalling yard there, and then.
It
I
used
don't
to
know
come up
where
here
the
on the BC rail tracks, formerly BC, or the least it's in.
Well, if you're a subject matter expert, there you go.
Okay, so this is of interest to me because it's part and parcel of the burgeoning growth in the Squamish Valley and points north. I believe Lions Bay should be supporting commuter rail or passenger use of the rail line so that get cars off the highway.
We used to have bud cars stop right in Lions Bay and we could get on or off. It's quite nice.
So what do we want to do about this?
His specific Mayor Marg says, please join me in passing a resolution and sending it along with a support letter to Premier Clark. Copy to her.
Is there a deadline? Her letter is dated February 10th.
It's pretty generic. This is page 107 of 138.
March 7th.
Oh, that's her letter to the minister. So I guess
Oh,
there's no-
sorry, then there's the flip side. Sorry, the next page, 108, is the suggested resolution.
Yeah. What's the thinking here? We may want to tweak it, but I'm kind of for it.
Yeah, me too.
In fact, I will even bring it up at TransLink because I've been raving about the fact that we need to stop thinking of ourselves as regional districts because people from Squamish are driving on Metro Vancouver's roads. So leave this with me for now, and I'll bring a recommendation to the next meeting, okay?
Fine. For me, now that I do get the corridor piece, and we should be supportive, and while this is not Lillooet's, not quite our corridor,
Yeah.
the many stops that they make, whether it's in Squamish or wherever they do, seems fine. So I'd leave it with you, Carl, but for me, this is stepping out, but it is a house sound piece. I'd be fine with the resolution as it is.
Okay, fine. Shauna, action item. Mayor Burt to respond to the what did you call this thing, Fred? What's the rail service used to be called?
Oh, it used to be the bud cars.
Bud car opportunity.
So I think they're looking for a resolution from
the
council.
Well, that's what they're looking for, but maybe we want to do something more or less. So
Well, I'm
So-
sure they'll take their resolution in April.
Yeah.
So you're not going to pass a resolution, you're going to, I'm trying to
Well, I
understand
want-
what you're going to do.
maybe
instead.
I'll only recommend to bring this resolution very similar to this one, but I know where that will go. So maybe we can do something a little bit more. For example, as I said, maybe I'll bring it up at TransLink.
Okay, moving on to G10, which is the Area Response Planning Initiative, which is a marine safety system. Numerous dates to attend. This is in the 113 range here.
Want to do anything about this?
Looking at their area for British Columbia, it's everywhere from Johnson Strait to Sook. it's a little vague in there, what the area.
Yeah, I mean, this is all very well, I just don't think we have the resources
I-
to do this.
I-
I think we must respectfully decline. They're inviting us, so I think we need to explicitly do something. Peter, what do you say?
It's up to you.
Yeah.
Sorry, I was just wondering if we could post something in the village update to see if there's a knowledgeable resident with marine experience that would like to represent Lions Bay's interests. I was thinking like a retired sea captain if we had one or something along those lines.
Well, we may, yes, we could entertain applications to do so. I want it to be a fait accompli that it's going to happen. Okay, so
Again, this actually relates to ship source oil spill prevention, preparedness, and response. So you could even tie it into the other issue that was tabled.
exactly.
And so how you deal with that one might be how you deal with this one. I don't know.
Yeah. Can we table this one and bring it? Can we bring this one back to new business in the next meeting?
Okay.
Good. So this and the one that we tabled,
Which one is it, Dave?
it's the report.
Which one?
It's the report starting.
G10.
Is it the G10? Okay, on response planning initiative.
Yeah, starting on page 110 of the package.
Yeah, you've got till May 24th before it engages, so
Yeah.
we've got a bit of time.
Yeah. So let's bring this as new business because I think it behooves us to. At the very least, we need to send a letter saying thanks, but we just can't do it.
Okay, next up, G11 BC Spill Response Region Engagement Workshop, which is April 20th and 21st. And I thought Peter mentioned this already.
Yeah.
And
Now, this is a specific response required. Again, I think we need to respectfully decline, but let's wait until the invitation comes.
okay,
You're good with me declining?
I am.
Do you want to send anybody else from the community? Or
Maybe we'll entertain. Is there time? Only just enough time to invite interested parties. Again, you've got to be careful to open these things up too far because you'll generate more work than you save. But tell you what, why don't I mention this in my Friday piece?
Okay.
Sure. Will I
And-
remember that?
I'll remind you.
Yeah, would you?
Okay, thank you,
Can I just go
Carl.
back to the one that Fred was talking about, posting in the village update? I think
Again, that was the one starting on page 1.
the same one.
Leave a response to all the correspondence that we are going to respond to me for the Friday piece. I just don't know, I have to remember. Mayor's piece starting on page 113. It's going to be pretty dry.
The penultimate on the general correspondence is National Inquiry on Missing and Murdered Aboriginal Women. Horrible information piece, no response.
Yep.
G13, request for representation on the new environmental subcommittee. They're asking us to appoint a alternate or a staff member. Reply by April the 15th on this one. Might have a quick peek at that.
Now, are we a member of the RPAC?
I presumed we were RPAC, but I was going to look to my left and look at you, aren't we?
No, this is a staff thing. That's a staff committee.
Yeah, I get the emails, but I haven't attended one, and it's not something that I think we have the resources to really stay on top of and provide input into
Yeah,
at this point in time.
I could use the same argument for attending Translink and Metro meetings. We have representation responsibility. Now, the Environment Subcommittee, maybe not, but I would be very adamant that we do. I just assumed we were attending these RPAC meetings because the regional planning is everything here, especially as we are smack dab on the receiving end of the entire SLRD and soon to be the Sunshine Coast Regional District coming through our highway. So
we don't have a planning department. It's a technical subcommittee for
Yeah, forget the environmental
environmental
committee.
planning.
I just assumed that we did attend the RPAC, so we do not, eh?
I haven't attended any, no.
Okay, well, that's a different issue, which we'll address separately. But can you respectfully, because it's to staff, well, to members, and whether we attend or not, I assume we remember, simply by virtue of being part of the regional district. Can you respond, Peter, and say that we decline sending a representative to the Environment Subcommittee?
Okay.
Okay. That concludes the external correspondence. The internal correspondence is one from Lisa Turpin. It's multiple asks and nothing that can be done without a little bit of work. My suggestion would be the CAO respond on that one.
Yes, thanks. My only question was in 5, are we not redacting personal information?
Just a second.
Yeah, we should be, is what I'm
I
saying.
think the CAO can probably handle all of this, and we should just be quiet. You fine with that, Peter?
Okay.
Done, thank you. And I think Mrs. Bromley has a point of view on a variety of topics, and that's much appreciated.
We all saw this email? Okay.
But at the end of the day, she the theme is that her point of view and her points are there, and she's basically just stating them and concludes, thanks for listening. So I think a note from the CAO saying thank you for your email. Or your emails received, or thank you for your input.
Yeah, so with respect to, sorry.
I mean, I went through this 4 times. There wasn't an ask in the whole works.
I think I'm getting this confused with a different one, sorry. Go ahead.
Okay, so Peter, acknowledge receipt of this.
Well, no, this was actually, although it was sent to a staff email address, it was actually sent to Mayor and Council. I'll respond. Got that? Action item?
How did I get to see this going to Shauna now that I look at this?
Well, I think that's
Okay,
that's probably the friendly
Carl,
neighbor.
do you have this one?
Yeah.
Thank you. Dave Smithers, I think this is a CAO's issue here.
Yep.
And I think the issues have been dealt with.
Thank you. And then the last item is the Historical Society.
Patience on a monument.
And Carl, I'm not sure how you want to go with this.
Well, this is correspondence at the moment. I guess what we need to decide is how do we do this? I think we can react to this as it is. It obviously have to come to council.
Well, we're absent 2 members. Why don't we table this time? We got the full house.
I think that's fair because this is as much political. Tony, I'm sort of talking to you. Thanks for bringing this, by the way. This is backdoor stuff.
Yeah.
I'm doing your public participation for you.
Hey, it was my suggestion.
Yeah.
I'd table it.
I think we do bring this. So bring this as a new business. New business.
And
you good with that?
Mayor Burr, that concludes the correspondence.
Thanks. Whew. You got all those action items?
I do.
You did.
Look at that.
I don't know how.
That's why I took it off Carl's hands when he talks all night, and he's going to go through half an hour of this.
What?
Well, to the correspondence when we get a long list. I mean, you keep.
Well, that's good stuff, man.
End up talking for. I loved listening to you for an hour.
Okay, here we go. Correspondence is done. New business. None? Public questions and comments?
Well,
You get a pretty good business.
I'm waiting for Tony. I thought it was something that was done later. Well, you all got a copy of my letter, did you, in your package?
We did.
And again, I'd just like to mention, you know, we feel it's a gap in historical part of Lions Bay. I mean, you know, you go to most places in the world, and events and people are mentioned, because it makes it very, very interesting. I feel that there's not enough in Lions Bay of things that have happened. The Historical Society put the 2 brass plaques up on the Centennial Trail. That's about one of the few things I see around Lions Bay to capture any of our history. And I feel that regardless of what happened on this new community centre, a tremendous amount of work went into the last 2 councils under Mayor Broughton, and there is no mention of that. And I think something, a small plaque just to mention the work that's being done would be very beneficial, and people would understand.
Thank you, Tony. I couldn't applaud the sentiment more. The politics of it and the timing may be sensitive, as I think I alluded to in my letter to you, but we can certainly take, and we will debate it next meeting. In fact, it's coming to new business. And so we will give you a definitive answer.
And this is something that we would look after.
No, that's not the issue. You know, in fact, the cost would not be the issue. So leave it there for now. You good with that? Okay.
It's on the big board.
It's on the agenda.
Fine.
Thank you.
All right.
Yeah, we're next.
We're in
In a
Canada.
moment. I'm not introducing myself. I'm here as a member of the Historical Society only. And I thought we were gonna be first. We last time. Good thing. It was the unanimous decision of the Historical Society to put the second plaque on. It's not a political statement, it's the history of Lions Bay. It's got nothing to do with Mayor Broughton or anything. It's a happening, and we feel, we know it's our mandate as a Historical Society. So I'm merely here to support the presentation and ask council to allow this to take place as part of the history of our village of 40 years. It's passionate for me, the history. So that's why I'm here. And thanks for the whole meeting. I had no idea I was going to sit here for the whole meeting.
Very interesting.
It's a very interesting
You
meeting.
know, this is a pretty dry one. You should come to the good
Not
ones.
the trees, not the trees.
But thank you very much
Thank you,
for
Joanne. Thank you.
considering that.
Yeah, thanks very much.
Thank you.
Anybody else? Lisa?
I also neglected to mention, thank you, 129 days, we have a patched road in front of our place. Also, I have it on good authority from members of the play school that they raised between $2,000 and $3,000 at Santa's breakfast, so you were not working from an accurate budget. So I just caveat that you may want to make sure you have an accurate budget of where things stand at the moment. So, thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Myron Loudon. I was a financial controller for the chemical company for over 30 years. Got some information on the spill containment being manufactured using hazardous and non-hazardous chemicals. There was quite a bit of a discussion about participating in spill containment exercises. What we learned in our organization was you have a local spill containment procedure, which we have in the village, which I gave training on a few years ago, and Fred was part of that, because we had a spill of somebody's paint coming down the creek. Somebody smelled it, and the reaction was there. So we do have a procedure there. The other ones are air, water, rail, and road. And with the company I was with, we had contractors that dealt with that. And I mean, the water was, whoever was actually our company. We had a contractor that dealt with that. The rail was CP Rail, which would be BC Rail here. They have a spill process. The air, of course, has one, and the road will or will not have one. But usually the companies that are carrying hazardous materials on our roads, like Petrocan or whoever, will have their own. So just to help you maybe in your efforts to put your energies in the right area, the ER person in our company, which was me, went, as well as being financial, went to all these other things, and we transmitted the information to the management. So we all didn't go to the CP Rail, exercises that they had, and they have a lot of them. And that's basically all I'm telling you, is that from my experience, you just gotta do your own training for here, which there is a book. And I'm willing to, I don't think a lot of the people here now were here when I gave the training.
I was going to ask, are you volunteering?
Yeah, well, I mean, I have before, and I don't mind doing it again, because there is changes in staff.
Okay, so thanks. So can I just so you're saying we don't really need to go to this regional, provincial...
Well, you don't, and you don't, and you don't, but somebody who is responsible for the ER should go to these operations, just for the knowledge, to say, okay, this guy has this guy has that, and tells you, the councillors and mayor, that you can feel comfortable that, the preparation is there. You don't have to go and do anything. Like, if you had a water spill up in Squamish that came down here, there'd be nothing you'd be doing. It would all be looked after by the Coast Guard or whoever is responsible for that.
Okay, good, thanks.
We're the company that I was with, we had to have it because nobody did. Anyway, yeah, but I'm offering to do the office and maintenance.
Thank you, Myron. That's great. Thanks. That didn't take very long.
Myron also did the emergency manual for the village office staff.
Yeah.
So I think he would also offer to present staff to retrain them on it.
Okay, good. Okay, I'll get with you separately offline, so not to engage all of council's attention on that one.
But just to give you a kind of comfort feel, there is a lot of preparation, and Fred knows about it too.
Fantastic. Thanks. Anybody else? Michael?
Just watching. Thank you.
Okay, with that we'll move on to the next agenda, which is the closed council meeting. Can I have a resolution that the meeting be closed to the public under the authority of the Community Charter, section 91C? Motion, please. Thank you. And a second. Ron, that's you. All in favour? Ron, we've got one. We need one more vote. Because there's only 3 of us. And opposed? That carries. Okay, we are now reporting out of the closed portion of the meeting. One item to report that the CAO will be advertising for a public works manager position. That being the end of the items on the agenda, can I have a motion to adjourn? And a second, all in favour? Opposed? That carries.